Coming up, Representative-elect Charlotte Little will soon become the newest Native American state lawmaker in New Mexico. The Alabama-Coushatta Tribe of Texas elects its first female chief. We'll talk to Millie Thompson Williams about her historic victory. And Team ICT is expanding. We'll introduce our new producer, Paris Wise. I am Aliyah Chavez. Join us for those interviews, plus headlines from the ICT Newscast.
This program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.
The Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication at Arizona State University is a proud supporter of Indian Country Today. Students at Cronkite News and Gaylord College at the University of Oklahoma cover Indigenous communities together. This important work is distributed by more than 100 news organizations. This collaboration provides a much-needed boost to coverage of Native American communities nationwide. Learn more at cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Amirawa Hopa, thank you for joining us. Indigenous leaders are applauding a historic action benefiting the Indian Health Service. For years, IHS, which is the federal agency in charge of healthcare for Native Americans and Alaska Natives, operated without the certainty of funding from one cycle to the next. That changed in late December when President Joe Biden signed the $1.7 trillion funding package into law. For the first time, the omnibus bill gives advanced appropriations to the IHS. Previously, when the government shut down, it would result in disruptions and gaps in caring for Native people. Leaders from Native organizations say this will fix that by providing more stability in funding. President of the National Congress of American Indians, Fawn Sharp, was among those celebrating the news. The funding will be available for fiscal year 2024 and will go into effect on October 1st of 2023. Now to Brazil, where Interior Secretary Deb Haaland is fresh off of a historic visit. On January 1st, Haaland was tasked by President Biden to lead a delegation on behalf of the United States to witness the inauguration of President Lula da Silva. That was days before supporters of former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro stormed the Congress and several other government buildings. This attack has been widely criticized by world leaders. Haaland participated in all of the major events and held meetings with Indigenous leaders and other officials during her trip. She said she was honored to represent the U.S. in the partnership between the two countries. Activists marched outside of a federal court building in Nevada last week to protest the potential destruction of their sacred land. Tribal citizens from the Reno Sparks Indian Colony rallied against what could be the largest lithium mine in the U.S. It is located at a site sacred to the Paiute called Thacker Pass. The protest came as a judge heard final oral arguments in a years-long legal battle. Several tribes and environmental groups have sued Lithium Nevada, the company who wants to build the mine, in hopes of halting the project. Lithium Nevada says its project is essential to producing batteries for electric vehicles.
Protect the you can't mine your way
out of the climate crisis.
You can't mine your way
out of the climate crisis.
The project has been opposed by several groups, including local ranchers and environmental groups, in addition to many Indigenous people. Dozens of tribal citizens had their drums and waved signs urging U.S. District Judge Miranda Dew to overturn her approval of the project until it complies with all state and federal laws, as well as completes additional environmental reviews.
This is powerful. It's powerful to have all you here. It's also powerful when you have a lawsuit that brings together environmentalists, tribes, and ranchers. That's pretty unique. So that sends a powerful message that people don't want this project.
A ruling on the case is expected to come in the next 2 months. The Lenape Indian tribe in Delaware has elected a new chief. Robin R. Christensen was officially sworn in as Principal Chief of the nation's Tribal Council in late November. Christensen was sworn into office during a special session, succeeding former Principal Chief Dennis Coker. Not only is Christensen the mayor of the city of Dover, he has also served as the president of the Delaware League of Local Government, among other committees. In a statement, Christensen expressed the great privilege he has to honor the Lenape's ancestors and the legacy left behind. Moving forward, Christensen plans to work on issues like tribal citizenship and others. Well, a Cherokee Nation citizen was among those to perform on college football's highest stage. Haley Chiariello is a baton twirler for Texas Christian University. She took the field at halftime of the college football championship at SoFi Stadium in California, where Georgia beat TCU for the title. Chiariello is the president of TCU's Native and Indigenous Students Association and says she feels blessed to be part of representing Native athletes. She one day hopes to do nonprofit work to help promote health initiatives for Native Americans, in addition to pursuing a law degree focusing on tribal law. And those are the headlines for the ICT Newscast. The Alabama-Coushatta Tribe of Texas introduced its newly inaugurated chiefs on Tuesday, January 3rd, beginning a new chapter in the tribe's proud history. For the first time, a woman was elected second chief. Millie Thompson Williams joins us now to talk about her historic victory and what her priorities will be in her new term. Welcome, Second Chief Williams.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So start us off and tell us a little bit about your tribal nation.
My tribal nation is the Alabama-Coushatta Tribe of Texas. We located here maybe like 90 miles out of from Houston. And we settled here in Piney Woods of East Texas, and we're here to stay.
I want to talk about your historic victory. Tell us how that played out for you, and what made you want to step up for a role like this?
Well, first of all, my cousin was the one that nominated me for the second chief. And she asked me, we talked about it. As we were growing up, we used to play like we were in tribal council, and we would say no to everything that came about, and we used to play like that. And then here recently, we were talking, and she asked me, I'm going to nominate you for a second chief. And at first, I thought she was joking, so I just, laugh and joke around with her. And then before I knew it, she nominated me. And after that, I said, okay, this is a serious role that I got to get into. And what I did was I didn't campaign or anything. I just left it in God's hand. I asked the creators that if you want me to be the second chief, then you will make a way. If you want me to wait for a little while, then I'll understand. But this is where I am today. It's the second chief of the Alabama-Coushatta Tribe.
I understand you actually have a background in both education and health. Tell us about that experience and how you think it'll help you in this new role.
My education, I was a teacher for 27 years in the early childhood project Head Start. I work with the children that's going into public school. I help them get ready, teach them the basic skills, and also after the 27 years of teaching, there was a position open for the health coordinator at that time. So I went for it, and I got into this health managing department. I'm the health and mental health coordinator at this time. But the thing is that in my early years, I wanted to be a pediatric nurse, but my brother discouraged me. He said, you have a soft heart. You can't make it in that department because you'll be crying all the time. Those little babies, sometimes they die. And after a while, I kind of drifted away from that ideal. But now I'm at the department where I can help those little children. When they don't feel good, they bring them to me, and I'll help them and I'll hold them, I'll give them love, and it just seems to come back in a circle, and I'm happy to be here at this Head Start program.
As I mentioned before, your election is the first time that a woman has been elected second chief of your tribal nation. When you think about that, what does that feel like for you?
Feel like we have succeeded. It used to be just men only as I was growing up. And then after this, feel like women can do anything they want to do and be successful as well. And here I am. I never thought I was going to be in this position, but now I have a role for my tribe, and I told my people that I'll be there for them. I'll be a listening ear. I'll support the tribal council. I'll support the first chief. And I just want to help out as much as I can. And I want the young people to grow up knowing that education is very, very important in their lives, and it'll help them in the long run. And also in our primary tribe, I want them to learn their language as well.
Well, Second Chief Millie Thompson Williams, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Charlotte Little was previously the tribal administrator for San Felipe Pueblo and was also a former lobbyist. Aside from that, she has been known for trying to get Native people out to vote in New Mexico. In March of 2022, she decided to throw her name in the race for a seat in the New Mexico State House. After an extremely tight race, she was successfully elected to the position. I recently sat down with Representative-elect Little in Albuquerque. She told me about the election day and the scenes that unfolded after the polls closed.
Well, in a nutshell, I won by 35 whole votes. In the end, there was an automatic recount that was triggered because the margin on election night and in the days following was so tiny. I believe election night, I went to bed with down by 12 votes. I had been out at Cibola High School on right up to 7 o'clock that evening, because it's been my experience working in tribal communities that you're trying to get everybody to vote. And so you're looking down the road, you're calling family and friends, everybody's calling family and friends, get them over here, come in and vote. So we're looking down the road, and I couldn't help but feel that same way that evening standing at Cibola. I was the last candidate that was standing there holding my sign. I think there's a picture on my Facebook page of that evening. And in the minutes before the polls closed, there were people coming into the school and to vote. And what I noticed was a big difference. These were individuals who were coming in their uniforms from wherever they'd been. I could recognize the uniforms from people who worked in kitchens, from people who were doctors and nurses. And I'm sure in that mix were teachers who were still doing what they needed to prepare for their students in the classroom the next day. And service vehicles. It was wonderful. I was driving home and thinking, wow, here I am, just reflecting on how, okay, it is just me. It is in terms of the responsibility that I decided to take on. When I came through, and Aliyah, you may be able to relate to this, and others as well, when we're participating in the dances for Feast Day or others, it's a sacrifice to be out there. And we do this because out of love for our community, to continue our traditions and so on. And I'm very proud of that. When I walked through the door of my home in Albuquerque, I opened it up, and I was received as if I was being welcomed back from having participated all day long. And it is an emotional moment because everyone's so happy for the sacrifices that have been given that day and for the good and the prayers that come with it. It felt so similar, and I thought it was just beautiful, and how special it was for me to be able to have that moment to feel that same way. Because my family, I walked in the house and there's my mom receiving me, my family receiving me, my husband, and members of the community that I live in, and that was just pretty amazing.
Representative-elect Little has been behind the scenes for decades, encouraging others to run for office. She explained her own path.
I didn't consider running. I actually was one person among many who would try to find candidates to run for office. Everybody else who had the skill sets that were needed, you know, the ability to talk with people, the ability to listen, the skills that you never really think about of navigating, helping our communities, our family members navigate through these systems, whether it's healthcare, Social Security, public assistance, housing, so many issues. And so I would work towards that, and I actually became part of an organization here in New Mexico, Emerge New Mexico. And that organization is a partisan organization. This organization teaches Democratic women to run for public office and win. And that last piece is very critical. And what it does is actually provides the tools for people to, women in this case, to run for office, from the nuts and bolts of telling people your stories, of finding your platform that you're articulating, rather, the platform that you want to present, and how to do this, how to get elected. And so I was so busy helping to look for individuals, not just women, but men as well, good people to run for office, that I never considered doing it myself. And in Emerge, they tell us, the statistics show that it takes someone, a woman anyways, at least 7 times to be asked to run for office before they will agree. Because we'll find all kinds of reasons not to. You know, somebody else is better than I am. Oh no, I could never do that. And that's not quite true. So until people are asked to do it, and it took a while for me to agree to run when I was first asked as well. I kept finding all kinds of reasons. No, I'll find somebody that you're looking for. I'm sure I will. Nope, that call was actually for me, and it's kind of comical in a way when I think about it. It's like, no. And yet, here I am.
We were talking about this earlier, but I'm wondering if you can tell the viewers specifically about the other Native women in New Mexico who have you've worked with in organizing and who are now in really big positions and influential positions. Absolutely, I'm proud to tell you who they are, to share with everyone who they are. Deb Hallen, my dear friend Deb Hallen, and I worked together at San Felipe in the tribal administration offices. She was a tribal administrator at the time, and I had been a tribal administrator, and I believe I was working as in the HR department. And we became really good friends, and we still are today. So proud of her, so proud to see her trajectory from beginning with deciding to run for office. And even though she wasn't successful, she continued. I am so very proud of her. That interview was done in partnership with Source New Mexico's Sean Griswold. We'll be right back. Paris Wise is a storyteller, journalist, and now she is the newest producer of the ICT Newscast. She recently graduated from the University of Southern California's Annenberg School for Communication and Journalism. Paris was previously the Director of Public Relations for USC's Native American Student Assembly and has made it a point to bring awareness of Native representation in and out of the classroom. Hi there, Paris.
Hey, Aliyah.
So you've been with us for a few weeks now. Tell us some of the duties of what it means to be a producer for the ICT Newscast.
Yeah, well, usually I'm on the other side of this feed, getting guests prepped and running them through the show. So it's really nice to be on this side of things. I get to pitch ideas for stories, which could be centered around an event or people. And through that, I'll write for the newscast for our lovely anchor, Aliyah, to report. So booking guests for the newscast is so great because I really love connecting with new people, meeting new people. I feel like I learn so much every day in this job. So there's always something to do. So, yeah.
Paris, what made you want to become a journalist?
I saw a gap in media, a really big gap. You know, Native people we're not only absent in a lot of it, but when we are present, our stories are always centered in educating non-natives, or we just don't have a say in our representation at all. So I always saw our communities talked about and portrayed as if we didn't exist anymore, which completely collided with my reality, which I'm sure you can relate a lot to. So I wanted to become a journalist to fill that gap and to really fight for stories to be told in a way that we don't have to make them digestible for other people. You know, it can just be for us and we can make ourselves a priority.
I mean, that's a great segue into ICT's mission overall of what we do here every day. Maybe talk about why ICT is a place that, you know, you wanted to come and bring your talents to.
Yeah, I mean, ICT is a very, very rare kind of place in our media landscape. You know, for me, going to school and working in spaces where there were little to no natives, I constantly found myself being a teacher and not by choice, you know, constantly having to educate people on why our stories are worthy. So I wanted to work in a place where I don't have to explain myself. You know, we no longer have to wait for mainstream media to tell our stories. We can go and do it ourselves. And that is something that we can do very well as Native people, clearly. So a place like ICT and a position like mine, you know, it didn't really exist when I was starting my undergrad. So I feel really lucky to be a part of this growth, and I'm excited to see how it continues to expand.
Well, part of the job of being a producer, of course, is to do the journalism and to do the reporting. What kinds of stories and topics are you most excited to tell?
Yeah, I'm so excited to tell stories that really amplify our beauty and our excellence and our achievements. You know, we're seeing huge waves of more and more natives in politics, fashion, industry, film and television, music. So I'm just very excited to see what people continue to do. And I have a lot of other projects that I want to execute, but can't reveal too much yet.
And you're actually located in a really great place in Los Angeles, of course. It just really seems like there's been a large boom of Native people in places like television, TV shows, movies. You know, maybe talk about that.
Oh, yeah. It feels like there's an event every day, from film screenings, film festivals, red carpet events, more and more. And growing up out here for a lot of my life, it's definitely something new and something I didn't get to experience growing up.
Paris, what advice would you give to other aspiring storytellers?
Ooh, there's so many great pieces of advice I've received and acquired over time. I would definitely say seek mentorship. You know, there's a lot of people out there who want to help, or at the very least talk about themselves. So learn from them and their journeys and see what resonates with yours. And I'd say with that, build community, you know, see what you can contribute and see what there is a need for. Coming from a place of service and a mindset of how can I help will put you in a really good position to learn a lot.
As you continue your journey with us, I'm sure our viewers will get to see your face and hear your voice a lot more, as we do with other folks like, you know, Mackenzie Allen Charmley and Patty Thalahongba. I just want to ask you a fun question while we have you here. Tell us about what your hobbies are, you know, outside of work.
Oh, yeah. I love to bead. earrings for my friends and my loved ones is something really special to me. I also love to cook. I may or may not make the best green chili stew. So even my mom hoards some bowls of it when I make it, which is really funny to me. So those are the things I love to do.
Well, I love that. And Paris, we should just throw out there that while we're both from different Pueblos, we're not related. So I'm very excited to have another Pueblo on the team here. Yes. Paris Wise, the newest member of ICT's Newscast's producing team. We're so excited to work with you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
And that's a slice of our Indigenous world. For all the latest, visit ictnews.org. From all of us in the newsroom, stay safe, my relatives.
The Sand Creek Massacre, the betrayal that changed Cheyenne and Arapaho people forever, focuses on tribal accounts of Colorado's deadliest day. Exhibition details at historycoloradocenter.org.
This program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.